Yesterday we helped this lady paint her trim and fix her house up, and when she came home from work, like, she just worked an 8-hour shift and she just cried, like, and she was like, thank you so much. And we're just like, we didn't do anything, like, this is nothing. Like, what you went through was like way more.
We're so grateful that you've chosen to give up some of your time and to travel to a community afflicted by disaster, to share gifts and to support the rebuilding of people's lives and property. For the next few minutes, we'll be speaking about one of the most important gifts you bring in addition to your hands and labor, and that is a ministry of presence.
A ministry of presence is an ability for people who bring with them a strong core of faith to share the assurance, the promise, the hope with folks who are going through some kind of a trauma of some sort.
Part of being a compassionate listener is putting yourself in the situation of the person that you're serving.
As we experience pain ourselves, and we look into ourselves, and you see how it feels, and you think about how it feels from being there. And I think it makes us better able to listen to others and to be there with them. Validate what people have told you. That's the most important thing.
As a matter of fact, it took us 6 weeks and a trip to the mayor just to get the permits to get started. And
so you'd have been a lot further along.
I'd have been a lot further along had it not been for that. And
just adds a layer of frustration that you didn't necessarily need.
Yeah, a layer of frustration, and then the guy coming, the inspector coming and telling me it's wrong when it was right.
One of the things that I picture myself as is a catcher. And if I'm standing behind the plate in a baseball game and there's a ball that comes barreling in at me, you know, it's not personal, and I just catch it. When people come up to me in a disaster and they've had great pain, they just kind of, they kind of emotionally regurgitate. And I always picture myself with this big catcher's mitt, and I just catch their pain and I hold it. And as they're talking, it's becoming real to them, and it makes sense to them. It's like putting together a puzzle, and the pieces begin to fit in their mind. And that's a very powerful piece of actually that healing journey.
And when we first got here, my wife just cried her eyes out. And now, finally, we're getting our house back together, thanks to the church.
You can do a lot to fix a roof and put walls up and a fresh coat of paint, but if the person is not whole, there's still a lot of work to be done.
You're coming to be a presence with the people that have gone through the disaster. And you know, you may not end up doing exactly what you thought you were going to be doing. You may spend, you know, an afternoon listening to a homeowner.
I led several teams to the Gulf, and after the first team, I learned that we always needed to have somebody with us whose primary responsibility was to listen. Because going into disaster area, everybody has different ways of reacting to that.
Psychologists teach us that when they work with folks who are trying to recover from a traumatic event, 3 elements are necessary to support the healing process. Those elements are relationship, narrative, or the ability to tell a story, and relaxation. When those 3 elements work together, people are able to reconnect their life story, somewhat disrupted by the experience of disaster. The before and the after become integrated as they learn to tell their story in a healing way. In a very small but important way, your presence, your ministry of presence on this work team, and your attentive listening to people who have been stricken by disaster helps them to tell that story and provides a short-term but important relationship as they walk on the road to recovery.
If the owner, or somebody, not even the owner, but somebody who's gone through it, comes up to you and you're talking to them and they start to tell their story, lay your paintbrush down. Lean the shovel against the wall, or drop it, or whatever. Talk to them. No, listen to them.
It's just been, like I said, if it wasn't for these volunteers here helping, I don't think we wouldn't be anywhere near ready to come back in again.
People don't so much want answers as they want to know that somebody heard their story, heard their pain, heard their joy, heard their journey.
Don't push, don't, oh, tell me your story, tell me your story. You know, you just, how are you? How was your day? You know, tell me, oh, do you have kids? You know, really just have a conversation. And over time, then those stories start to come out.
Listen to the story without editing or interrupting. That when the person pauses for some feedback or for an opportunity for them to respond, they may not say anything other than, uh-huh.
The homeowner really wanted to share her story with us. She had us sit down on the couch. She had 5 Hurricane Sandy books, and she told us to look through them, see what happened. She told us about how much water was in her house, how her dog was scared.
You never walk into someone's home and say, well, it was God's will, or it's for the better, or we don't know what the future has to hold. Perhaps this was meant to be.
People often minimize people's pain. And that is very difficult. Is we say, well, yeah, you lost your car, but at least you didn't lose your house. You know, but you can do this, or you can have another child. And those things are dismissive, and it really hurts.
They can give people support and encouragement for a more positive future without telling them everything's going to be okay. Because indeed, many times, everything isn't okay. We're in the business of trying to help people understand that there's a new normal.
Most of the time, people just need someone to look them in the eye, to nod, to acknowledge what they're feeling, and reflect back. If a homeowner says, I'm so angry at what happened, you know, with my house and my home, and I've lost all my articles, and I just don't know where to start, your reflective listening would be, I hear that you're so angry about what's happened, and it's challenging for you to know where to start. How can I help? We're always about empowering. How do you empower? From offering a cup of coffee and saying, would you like milk? Would you like sugar? Letting them make small decisions, to then, this item looks like it may be covered with mold and it might not be salvageable. Would you like to put it aside, or do you think we can throw it away?
And faith-based volunteers, their job at that point is not traditional evangelism. It's not winning people over to their particular faith. It's being an exemplar of what their faith means.
It is too vulnerable a time to expect people to accept a new way of faith or to speak about their faith in a very direct way. Whatever they volunteer, be there to receive.
What draws me to do this kind of work is service. I feel like when you give back, that's showing God's love. It's not about telling people how to act. It's not about preaching the Bible. It's about showing. And we like to say, the only Bible some people see is you. So that's what we try and do. And it makes you feel good inside, knowing that you're helping.
We hope that the principles and ideas we've shared with you in this brief video have helped you to begin to learn what a ministry of presence can do in the lives of those who've been stricken by disaster.